content creators that bring you the lowest effort content imaginable. You know, the ones that brought you info that devs don't want you to know about. The podcast you probably don't want your girlfriend to know about.
Who?
And will most likely get you banned just for talking about it. Raw, uncut, and uncensored.
We want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Maybe try some mining or something. Remember not to undock anything you can't afford to lose.
Welcome to the Echoes of New Eden podcast. Let's start this bitch.
Okay, here we go. We're just going to go ahead and start. We're live in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Echoes of New Eden. I am Taylor Rick. There is no I was going to say Rambo Rick. That's one of our alt. That's my alt. That's his alt. But there's no Rambo tonight. So it's just me. DaemonXel is going to be here in just a little bit. He'll be joining me on stage at some point, and I'm sure he'll have some things to add that happened from last month. But it is what it is. Damon, whenever you get here, ping me, and I'll make sure I add you to the stage if you can't do that on your own automatically. So, as I said, we have a lot to go over. It's been a couple of weeks since we've done a show. Those of you who know why, know why. Those of you who don't, let me fill you in. The last 2 weeks have been a very hectic Sunday schedule for Razzle Dazzle. As the rest of the we are Razzle Dazzle, by the way. The rest of the server it calls us Shush Empire, which I find hilarious, but and make fun of. But no, Razzle Dazzle's been very busy, which of course, being executor of the Fed and running that show over there takes up a lot of time, and that's what took up my Sundays. Weekends are very precious time to me because that's about the only time I'm home is on Saturday and Sunday. So anyway. 2 big things happened over the last 2 Sundays, which precluded us from having a normal show. The first one was, of course, the Battle of Bosy, B-O-Z-I, or B-O-Z-1, but I pronounce it Bosy. It's much easier to say. That was a huge battle. That was just a gigantic fight. We haven't seen a fight like that, and I'm sure you guys have seen some of the... Yeah, exact opposite, Bradrick. I'm sure some of you guys have seen some of the videos by now from the Battle of Bosy. If you've got them, go ahead and post some links up. That'd be great to share the ones you've found and the ones you've seen. There's got to be at least half a dozen, maybe 5. I think there's 5 different ones that I've watched from different perspectives. Juby even put up one. Our own Juby, God bless him, showed us the video from a pod for maybe 2/3 of the actual fight. Good job, Juby. No, it was okay. It was okay, but there's just a ton. There's just a ton of videos out there. So I'll give you a short summary of what happened, in case you didn't know. There was over 900 in local in Bosy for that fight on a Sunday afternoon U.S. time zone, 3 a.m. or something like that for APAC time zone. And it was over 900. Razzle Dazzle formed 11 fleets, if I'm pulling this from memory. But we've talked about it enough internally that I'm pretty sure on the numbers is 11 fleets. A little bit scattered on those fleets, but we coalesced. I thought we coalesced those 11 fleets pretty well, considering they were coordinated between, that's 11 fleets, that's 11 FCs. And I want to say maybe half of those FCs were affluent English speakers, and the other half were not. Doesn't mean they couldn't speak English, but they're not affluent English speakers. And when you're in the heat of the battle and you're trying to coordinate with things, with people, it is, verbiage can get thrown around pretty quickly. Anyway, that doesn't make sense to some people. So 11 fleets, well over 400. I want to say there was at least 462, I think, was the final number I had in my head of individual pilots in the Razzle Dazzle fleets out of those 11. And we brought those to bear, and we took the fight after waiting and waiting and waiting. We had already captured a citadel. Turns out there was a second citadel that was captured as well, or put into hole or whatever. I don't know. That's for this last Sunday, not the one before. A little bit of confusion on that end of it. No one's really explained that one to me yet. But the Pact 24, there's Damon. How's it going, Damon?
What's going on?
So I'm just talking about the Battle of Bosy right now. So Pact 24 and AOA.
Right in, I see.
Yeah. Just jump right into it. So Pact 24 and AOA formed. Subcap wise, it was less. It was close to 400, but it was less than 400. I would say like 350, somewhere in there. Was the count I think I got somewhere around 350. It was less than Razzle Dazzle in terms of subcaps, and they had those in Bosy, and we were in what a system I call EDOG, EDQG. I call it EDOG. They have nicknames for everything. Anyway, so we sat there forever just waiting for them to bring that subcap fleet in to EDOG and take the fight. Come at us. And we were just there forever. This is like a 5-hour freaking CTA. And we just got tired of it. And finally, Joda's like, yeah, fuck it. We're going to fight. And we all warped to the gate like big noobs that we are and jumped through that gate into the enemy sitting on the other side. For those of you who know anything about fleet tactics in the game, you know that that's kind of a big fucking no-no. That is a way to get your ass handed to you because they're set up on the other side. They have bubbles. They have shield fields already up. They're anchored, yada, yada, yada. And we're not. So
was I right to hear that there was a lot of posturing on both sides for a very long time?
A very long time. There was posturing.
3 hours or so?
Well, some of that was getting there ahead of time. Some of that was trying to entosis and move around ahead of time. Well, we jumped in and we were scattered, and they warped into us chained at the same time, and they were all warping into set points, so they were set up. It's no different, chained. It's no different. We were there at the same damn time, and that is a no-no. When you jump in like that, they are ready. They're already in set. Each fleet that's warping in is already at a set point at that point. Bubbles can go up. Hardeners are on. We are not. Their hardeners can be turned on while they're warping to the gate. We cannot do that. We have to jump in. We have to wait for a jump gate lag, which I saw the counter at 96 when I hit jump the gate, which is the highest I've seen it ever, I think. So, yeah, and I was one of the first ones to hit the jump because as an FC, you should be. So, yeah, you've got all that kind of stuff going on. And so that's just a no-no. You're scattered around that gate, and it's freaking horrible. That's just a massive no-no. But we did it anyway because we've been sitting around for 5 hours at that point, maybe 4.5. And we're just ready to fight, and we're just going to duke it out. So we did. We jumped in, and we duked it out, and Joda is our main FC, so Joda said, everybody go down. I go down. And I realized that my fleet of 51 in my nightmare is going down quite a bit faster than everybody else is going down. In fact, nobody else is actually going down, and now we're out in the middle of fucking nowhere by ourselves. One fleet went left, one fleet went right, I went down. Everybody else stuck to the ANSI gate, which was the smart thing to do. I don't know why Joda said go down, but he did. You listen to your FC. And at that point, my fleet is stuck out in the middle of nowhere with my shield field. I had another nightmare. I believe Chained, you were in my fleet at that time, and so was Saycock. I think it was the three of us in Nightmares, wasn't it? In that fleet. And at that,
do you guys find that when you jump into a gate and your FC gives you a command, say, go down?
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
That you inevitably are always on the opposite end. Like if someone tells me to go down, I'm usually on above the gate. Or if they go up, I'm below the gate. It's for some reason it always happens that way. Did that happen to you guys that same way?
It does sometimes, yeah. But I was on the bottom of the gate, and but everybody's scattered around, so it doesn't really matter. The whole point is you want everybody to go down and then be together, and try to anchor up as fast as possible when you do that. Which really, what we all should have done was just approach the fucking gate, bubbles up, approach the gate, hardeners on, and that would have been much better. The biggest problem, though, wasn't even that. And, yeah, we had 4 nightmares. Things changed. We had 4 nightmares in my fleet. Is our Logi instantly got targeted and ripped to shreds before they could anchor up, because that's the problem when you jump the gate like that. The Logi are just sitting out there in fucking space all by themselves, helpless, and they're dead. So I lost almost all my Logi within the first probably 15 seconds of jumping the gate, and that was bad. But the biggest problem I had is once I did that, I had no lag, by the way. I just want to make this clear when I tell people this. I had zero lag. This was the smoothest large fight I have ever seen. And spoiler, even when the supers and the caps were dropped on top of us, I still had no lag. The problem I had, and I actually figured out what it wasn't that there was a problem with the game. I thought my overview was fucked up because I couldn't find a gate. I couldn't see the gates. You couldn't see the gates in terms of just visually because there's so much shit on the screen. But I couldn't see the gates on my overview, and I thought the game was glitching from my ability to even see them like on that advanced filter, over on the right-hand side, where you can see like specific ones to go and like hit. I couldn't see that either. For gates, and I thought there was something fucked up, and that's when I discovered on that tune, that overview is an old overview that I had, and it just wasn't showing the gates. It was screwed up. I went in to the filter, unhit the gates, hit the gates, and then it was all working the way it should be. And I have 3 different tunes that I FC on, and they don't all have matching overviews. That's the next revelation that I came up to after that fight that day too. I was like, son of a bitch. So word to the wise, when it comes to overviews, when there's major updates in the game and major patches in the game and things like that, you need to go and refresh those overviews because, exactly, damn it, where'd that fucking gate go? Because those overviews get glitched and get screwed up. So that was something somebody else told me too. Like after a major patch, I go into my overviews, the one I use for my FCing, and I copy it to a new one, and then I go and check it, and then it's usually fine. So I've got to do that. And I hadn't done that on Rick's Eye for forever because he's my nightmare pilot. And we hadn't had any large scale heavies, where I needed my nightmare pilot to FC in a fleet like that for a long time. I've been doing a lot of FCing in a Phantasm or a Fiend for a lot of smaller scale stuff. So than that. So that's shame on me for not double checking that. That was really my fault. That was not a NetEase screw up. So you take that out of it. And that game was flawless for this battle for me. It was absolutely flawless. Now, granted, I'm running an iPad Pro. I have a gigabit Google Fiber connection at my house. It's hardwired into the PC in my studio. Although I was on the iPad, so it's wireless. But still, I do acknowledge that I have a setup that most people probably don't. But still, it was a beautiful, beautiful fight. I loved every second of that. So I couldn't figure out where the gate was. I was kind of looking around and I could kind of tell where people were, but not really. There's just a lot of everybody massed in. Of course, the packed brawl fleet was just diving in and chewing up Logi from everybody's fleet at that point. And that was really, really rough. So my fleet pretty much got wiped. I believe, not Maxino, maybe it was Crash's fleet got wiped. I believe it was Crash's fleet that got wiped. And the rest of our fleets actually held up pretty well. When you go back and look at the... I don't run it on emulators when I'm doing big fights like that either. When you go back and you look at the... there's one video in particular. I don't know which one it is. I don't have a link pulled up to show you. Sorry about that. But one of them was showing the blue versus red counts. How you can see that up towards the clock. Underneath like your character name and all that. And it was showing that, and I could see the sub cap counts on grid in total as well. And it looked like we were doing really, really well, despite my buffoonery, in terms of being able to wipe that fleet. And I felt at the time too, listening to people talk about what we had, where we were going, some of the fleet chat, it was going really, really well for us. Shush was winning then. I really do believe we were winning at that point. And then the supers dropped. The supers and the capitals dropped. And that's when, we had to starburst and get the fuck out. Because it was 47 supers that were dropped and at least 100 capitals or something like that. I forget what the total count was. I'd have to go back and look at look and see what it was. But it was a shit ton. That's when the local count got well over 900 was when those dropped. And then we were done. We had to bail out, obviously. What are you going to do? Subcaps against 47 supers, and you've got at least another 200 subcaps probably of Pack 23 sitting there, or Pack 24 sitting there as well. 40 other caps, was it? Okay. So almost 100 caps in total, yeah. So yeah, at that point we were done. Now the funny thing is, I saw someone laughing at this, but it's true. We went and totaled up all of our losses and all of our kill mills that we got, and it was 971 billion in kills versus here I can go and I can just pull it up. I have the numbers here. We were about 270, roughly 270 billion ISK positive. And frankly, that's all I give a shit about. Yeah, 941 billion worth of kills, 704 billion worth of losses. I would do that again in a heartbeat. I would get a fleet together right now, all those guys, and go do it again if I could get those results. I would do it every fucking day because we can keep up with that. We can do that every day. I don't know if Pack 24 can do that every day. I don't know if AOA can do that every day. I don't really care. It doesn't matter. But it was fun. That's the main thing that matters. We had a good, heavy fight, and it was a blast. And the server held up. I think that's a win for everybody from that side of it, that the server held up for it. So, and it was a little bit dirty that AOA, in my opinion, AOA waited to drop those supers and those caps until it was clear that Pact 24 subcaps were going to lose that fight. So, audio die? No, I'm still talking. Can you guys not hear me? I mean, Damon's being quiet, but
I'm letting you tell your story.
oh yeah, sorry. So,
I'm actually looking for something right now. Maybe anyone in the audience can help me. There was an EVE Online trailer back in the day, years ago,
mm-hmm.
and it showed two forces fighting. Right? It was a great trailer. I think it had this like prophecy in it. There's like this red prophecy, and at the end, it shows this overview of both these armies or both these lances fighting, and then a cap fleet on top of them, and he just goes, "Kill them all." Yes, the Russian trailer. Yes, that is basically I feel the embodiment of the fight from Bosy. That trailer.
I do remember that trailer now that you're mentioning it. Yeah. We need trailers like that for this game, but in order to do that, we need more fights like this one. I mean, we definitely need more fights like this one.
It seems like they're working on the back end, and from what I've seen on some of the updates, that they're with the. Yes, I know I've covered this about what's going on with the anniversary and stuff like that, but it does scare me a little bit when they say they're dabbling with the code to try and fix things on the back end. But it could also be a blessing. Maybe we could have more of these big fights without the black screens, without the lag, and I know a few people. I know Juby said that he dropped off, and when he came back into the fight, he was dead. But also, Juby lives in the woods, so you know,
yeah,
he's got two cups and a string for the connection, so it's all good.
Right.
But I think that's going to be a good thing. I think this is going to be good. That we can have these big fights again without the lag. Maybe we'll actually get. It's been so long that it's actually happened in Eve Echoes. I can't remember the term where time slows down. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Time dilation. Tie-dye. We call it tie-dye. Yeah.
Tie-dye. Yeah.
Maybe they bring that back.
We'll actually see that kick in again.
Yeah, maybe they bring that back. I mean, they got rid of it back in the day. But maybe they won't have to bring it back. I hope we can get fights like this without having to go to tie-dye, honestly. Because this is a fast, fun fight. This is also a thing that separates Echoes from EVE Online. Echoes is just such a faster game. It is just the fights are faster, everything's faster.
I really wish I wasn't doing so much overtime last week. That's why I didn't put out a video last week. I did, I think, something like around 22 hours of OT last week.
Damn,
and
good for you.
I wanted to actually show up for the fight, and especially because I heard it was going to be subcaps. So I was like, oh, lovely! I can actually get to this fight without having to coordinate jumps and everything else. And I was actually looking forward to it. And then they're like, I got the call. I was like, no, we're working OT today. I'm like, fuck. But yeah, I mean, so let's talk about stats. We talked about the timeline on the Bosy fight. Let's talk about stats. Silent Federation and Friends fielded all subcaps, right? You guys had no caps on the field whatsoever, right?
I will neither confirm or deny that we had caps that we could drop.
No. I mean, in the battle itself.
Oh yeah, in the battle we had subcaps. Yeah. Just subcaps.
Not lying in wait.
Just subcaps. Yeah.
Right. Just subcaps. So for your healers, right? For what did you guys use? Because again, I wasn't at the fight. Was
Logic
it
Canes.
mostly Okay, so that's what I was thinking. It was going to be Logic Games. I wasn't wondering if you were going to bring out any of the big boys like the Nest, since it was all subcaps. If maybe a few Nesters popped in there or anything like that.
No, we killed 11 of theirs though. 11 nesters died that day. So we were running shields
I would like
mostly.
I would like to hear from the opposing side, Pack 24, when AOA did drop I heard it was a 40-man super
47.
cap fleet, right?
47 and plus
47
40 caps.
plus 40 caps. So 87 new ships on the grid.
Yep.
Was there any friendly fire due to this?
Oh, there was friendly fire on our side before the fight even started because of different fleets and everything else. It just happens. Even this last Sunday, yesterday, we had the only loss we had because it was a no-show by Pact was a Ferrex command, and that was our only command ship. We had no command ships across the 12 fleets or whatever we had yesterday. Maybe 10. I think we had it slimmed down to maybe 10. And we had no command ships anywhere.
Now, obviously, was the entire fleet wiped out? Did any of the silent subcap fleet was able to?
Oh no, we got some caps out. Oh no, we got some out. It wasn't a complete wipe. It was pretty close, but it wasn't a complete wipe.
So how fast was everything popping?
Once they dropped, it was pretty freaking quick. It was pretty freaking quick. We were dropping like flies at that point. Once the supers were on grid, it was very fast because it's essentially a one shot. So it's about this. It's about this fast. You're watching the subcaps just go bye bye. Maybe a little faster actually. Once they all started going. So yeah, that was brutal. And that's where we took our heaviest losses. Really, was once that hit. I think there was a couple of fleets that warped off to a planet or the sun or something like that. I was dead at that point. I mean, I died as soon as the caps hit the grid. But no, I think there was another group that warped off to a planet or a sun somewhere, and they died. They got caught and died too. But yeah, no. So that was rough. But still, I mean, ISK positive. If you look at the overall stats, it was ISK positive.
Well, I think it's as long as everyone had a great time. I think that's what.
I think that
it
counts
sucks
as much
that,
as anything
AOA
else.
decided to wait till the end to drop everything.
Well, I think that was probably planned and timed. I think they were worried about what we would drop, and so they wouldn't. I mean, this isn't like OPSEC to say this, but in any capital fight, rule number 1 is do not drop until the enemy drops. And rule number 2 is do not drop until you know what you're dropping on top of in terms of the enemy, right? So, I mean, it's kind of the same thing, but subtle difference there. Yeah. Rambo. I don't know what that barking was from, honestly, Rambo, that day. And you were putting that into local and stuff, and it wasn't anything to do with AOA or anything else. It was somewhat of a I don't know. There was some sort of joke in the fleet, or so. You were in my fleet too, weren't you? I believe Rambo was actually in my fleet that day. Yeah. And there was some sort of internal joke or whatever that was going around, and that's when that got out into local where you're saying bark, bark. And now, of course, everybody on Reddit wants to turn that around, and as in Rambo being racist, which is ridiculous. So context is everything, guys. Context is everything, which I get it. That's part of the Reddit spin. That is just the way it goes. Yeah, and that's fine. It's what Reddit is. Yeah, that thing there. That's just kind of ridiculous. Someone being stupid and doesn't.
Also, let's post up whoever's got it Rambo's kill mail, or sorry, lost mail.
Yeah, let's show. What was he in? A Condor 2? Not an Interceptor, but a Condor 2. So, I died in my Scepter that day as well. In another tune because I forgot about the whole cloaks reuse fuel. I didn't check on them for a while, and the cloak ran out. And then he was sitting there and got popped. So, oh well. It's kind of tough. I mean, most people who have FC'd probably understand what I'm about ready to say, but even those people may or may not understand it unless you've FC'd at a full-blown alliance level with multiple FCs and multiple fleets moving. But when you're doing that, it's multiple screens at once, not just for your characters and what's going on grid, but having to watch the grid as well. But it's also Intel channels. It's also the FC Discord channel. It's like 6 different Discord channels that you're watching. I think it's 6 for us. Yeah, there was 6 because of the separation of fleets and different voice and everything else, different Discords and all that. And not everything was all consolidated like it should have been. And so there's usually about 6 or so that I'm having to skip around and look at to make sure I'm not missing anything while watching what's going on grid. And unfortunately, that day, I had done another dumbass decision. Was I decided to drive and call and target call. Like that's a no-no.
You know better than that.
I know better than that. I know better than that. So I know, Tommy. I know, Tommy.
You guys want to try an experiment?
Sure.
Okay. We're gonna see how fast this can hit Reddit. Propaganda. The only reason AOA waited to drop was so that they can weaken their allies and renters.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of feel like that was what they did. I kind of feel like that's what they did. But I also feel like if I was AOA, so I take that, I kind of feel that's true. However, I think that if I was AOA, I would have waited as well because I'd be worried about the counter drop. And I don't think they knew where we were. In fact, I know for a fact they didn't know where we were. Well, I can't really say I know for a fact because, I mean, I wasn't like listening to Zhao talk. But I'm pretty confident they didn't know where we were as far as any capitals in play. So yeah, I mean, I would be a little concerned by that too.
Now, here's the question to be asked, which I know is going to be OPSEC anyway, that I'm sure the audience is going to want. Did Silent, at the time, even though they were hidden, have enough supers and caps to counter that fleet?
I will neither confirm or deny that on that day we had enough to counter it. I will say that yesterday, had they dropped, that would have been fucking epic. That's all I'll say.
I think it's gonna be fun once Titans drop.
Oh, I think it's fun. I think it's fun now, but yes,
No,
I think
know
Titans change things.
I know it's fun now. That's what I'm saying. I'm waiting to see how the warfare is going to change with Titans. Because then is it whoever drops the first Titan on field will get the advantage? You know what I mean? Because then you can play things like this. Okay, we're gonna drop one Titan, fire at if it works the same way as the Eve with the Doomsday weapon, right? Drop a Titan, Doomsday, and all of a sudden the enemy drops their super cap fleet on top to kill that one Titan, and that's when you drop 2 more Titans to the super. Exactly.
Yeah, Titan bait. Oh my god.
Which I can see happening, especially if we're going to get Titan in a box.
Oh god, I'm going to be happy and
I know you were a huge
pissed
proponent
off
of not having Titan in a box, but
I'm going to be.
I really.
Yeah. I'm going to be hugely disappointed.
Them not doing Titan in a box.
I mean, how much? Okay, so let's just take it for a fact then that they're going to do Titans in a box. How much is that fucking box going to be? Because I figured that a Titan is going to be about 2.5 times the number of capital parts as a super is, and probably about 2 and maybe double the debris count. That's what I kind of feel like a Titan's going to be. Double the debris count, and but in dreads. And we don't have confirmation on that yet, although I'm heavily leaning towards it's going to be regular dread debris.
Okay, well, let's look at it this way. Let's go back. And does anyone have the numbers or have the ability to do the numbers of when they introduced the APOC, the Navy battleships in a box, and then the cap in a box. Like there was a number of how many boxes you can get before the pity system kicked in. You know what I mean? Like you had to have dropped at least this amount of money or AUR to be able to confidently get that cap.
Well, the
And
VAC,
if
the
we
the,
look at
the
it that way, if you
yeah.
look at it from the battleship point to the cap point, and if there's a steady number incline, you can basically guesstimate about how much you would have to spend to get the Titan in the box.
Yeah, it was 60 boxes, and it was what 100 R per box, so 6,000 R. That sounds like not enough. It doesn't. I don't. I don't think it was. Because 6,000 R is only like what, $200, $250, maybe less than that. That sounds cheap for a Lucent Moon and a VAC.
If you can get a Titan for $200,
Oh God, I'd do it in a
there could be a lot
heartbeat.
of Titans.
Fuck yeah, I'll do it in a heartbeat. But I'm betting it's going to be more like 3,000 USD, which is insane. But people will do it.
We need some whale volunteers to give us some numbers.
Yeah, 250 to 350 for the Lucent, right? Yeah, yeah. Maybe 1,000, maybe 1,000 for a Titan. It'll be the most expensive thing ever. And if they do Titans in a box, then they're going to do Supers in a box, right? So maybe the Supers are $500-600 and the Titans are 1,000. I'm going to start a GoFundMe. So yeah, I kind of have my head set around $1,000, Tommy. That seems about right. In terms of what they're doing, not that it's correct, but that seems about in line with what they're doing. And it really depends on. Well, I'll put it this way: if they do drop in August, and I think they're going to drop after August, based off of the AMAs that happened, also something that happened after we've done a last show. So that's something else we got to talk about. But I think if they drop them after August, we'll probably be ready for 3 by then in build, Fed wise. We should be right on top of 3. Now, debris wise is another story, blueprints, all that stuff. Parts wise, based on our estimates, we should be ready for 3. So, but that also depends on, what exactly are they going to do? Are these going to actually be what we expect them to be? Or are they going to be a Lancer that is slightly tankier and has a better AoE weapon, and that's it? Right? I mean, hell, if they come out and they're pretty much the same number of debris as a super, and they're about as tanky as a super, and their AoE gets them into the 150k range kind of thing, DPS-wise, but they're not that much more, and their area effect is better, like, that would be... I don't know. Would that be good enough for a Titan? And if so, I mean, hell, now you've just got Titans. Excuse me, Titans and Supers.
What's the cooldown on a Lancer's weapon?
Oh, forever in a fucking day. Like, I don't know, like
No,
120 seconds.
I think Titans, the Doomsday is an actual hard 10 minutes. At least in EVE Online.
Right. It won't be anywhere near that. It won't be
that.
anywhere near that slow here. This is what I mean. Echoes is such a faster paced game. I bet you it'll be more like 300 seconds. 320. Kind of like a cover mod is and a burst module is. It got reduced to 1.
Minute.
Holy shit.
Holy fuck.
That's deadly as shit.
Okay, so here's the question now. Wish list. Which is the which is the Titan that Taylor wants?
Which is the Titan that Taylor wants? Let's see. That would go on my Rick's iTunes because he's my Dread pilot.
Do you want the big butt plug? Do you want the...
Oh, you're going to start wording it like that.
You're
going to corner me into saying something that implicates myself. I'm not doing that. I want the mushroom thump one, though. How about I'll call it that? It's the mushroom thump one, and that's the Amar avatar.
That is the avatar. I like the Chain is right. I like the Erebus. The if you look at it a certain way, it kind of looks like a futuristic freight train. That's the Galante one, I believe, the Erebus.
Now, if you look at the stats of these things in EVE Online, the Avatar is about the only one worth getting. The rest of them are kind of whatever.
Niche. They're niche.
They're very niche. So it really kind of depends on what they do in terms of porting them, right? So it's still very much up in the air. Yeah, there's me in that Titan in a box thing. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, nematosis. But that's my reaction. If Titans show up in a box, I'm going to get a little pissy. I think the best looking one, though, is the Galente one.
Expression when he wins one in a box.
That's true. If I win one in a box or a GoFundMe gets started and it actually goes through, I think that'd be fantastic. You watch, it'll piss people off. But if it does come out and it's like $800 or something, $600, something that's more in the realm of reason in my mind, I will start a GoFundMe. And if I get one, and it'll piss everybody off. I can't wait for that. You guys don't understand how much I love hearing everybody bitch about me being a silent propagandist guy. I find it hysterical, as if I'm not allowed to have an opinion, especially for the group that I'm executor of. Like I'm supposed to hate myself when I'm on this podcast. I don't understand. There you go, Nessival. Perfect. Put Jimmy's face in the front of it.
Listen, if you can actually get, have custom skins.
Oh, please.
For Titan, that is the skin right there. That is the skin for the Avatar. You can release it with that skin.
No one will understand. That's so funny. But it's not a shush podcast, Big King Kaz. I'm just here giving you my opinion on things, and my opinion is skewed by the fact that I am executor of Silent Fed. But I am very level-headed. We've had people on here that have, that are not from Shush. We've had interviews with people that are not from Shush. And we've had great conversations. We even had Benzie. You guys, if you've listened to this podcast when I've been on long enough to know, I am not a Benzie fan. I couldn't stand Benzie while he was here. The man drove me fucking nuts. If there's anybody who ever extracted salt from me, it was that dumbass. We had him on the show, and we had a good conversation, and it was a good debate, and I was nice, and that was fine. And I'm welcomed. We've had Doro on the show from Burr.
I remember the episode where you had Doro on with MGD.
With Michael JD, and it was a good conversation. And JD was even nice at the time when he was executor. So running the show.
I think that was the squeaky chair episode, wasn't it?
One of many squeaky chair episodes. So no, I mean, I am open-minded enough. Exactly. That was a great episode, right? And so I am open-minded enough to be able to sit back and take my, perspective of things out of it and just have an actual honest to goodness conversation and a debate on the merits of the game if that comes up. Otherwise, we can just talk. So at any rate, but I am going to tell you what my perspective is.
Just as Jimmy Kimmel extends the invitation to Matt Damon every week, I think Rambo and Taylor extend the invitation to Venomune every week.
Every week, yeah. And I don't blame him if he's not look, I will say this. If you don't want to come on the show and you think it's because I'm just going to berate you and out-debate you and make you sound silly or stupid, and then maybe it isn't the time for you to come on the show, because if you're not able to hold an honest debate and you're not able to hold up to someone who's used to doing this kind of thing, I am good at this. I am very good at doing this on a podcast. I've done this kind of thing for a very long time. So if you're not good at that on that end of it, then maybe you probably shouldn't come on here, because you might make yourself look foolish. So in Vetamune's defense, hey, I'm defending Vetamune right now. He's probably smart not to come on here. Not that I wouldn't be mean to him, but that I'm very good at what I do, and it would probably be difficult. Remember when we had Ozier during the middle of the war on here, and I asked him where his caps were? I mean,
I think the toast is basically saying Pac is too poor to afford their own podcast.
Anybody down there. See, this is the thing, too, that I told Rambo as well. I really hope somebody else starts up a podcast from Pac 24. I really hope they do. I want to hear it. I want to see it. I want to listen to it. I want to come on their show. I want them to come on this show. I loved it when we had McKinsey on here. You guys don't remember that. We used to have McKinsey on here every once in a while, and I used to go on McKinsey's radio show too. And I thought that was great because it's what makes us better. Iron sharpens iron. You have to have somebody to fight against to get better at fighting. You have to have somebody to compete against in the podcast arena if you're going to get better and improve. Um, I mean,
And just
nematosis, you're not
as a
wrong.
community as well, I think.
You're not
The
wrong.
community as well. It strengthens.
It strengthens the
And if
community.
anything,
It galvanizes the
this game
community.
is nothing without community.
Exactly. This game is nothing without community. And it galvanizes those communities to pit one against the other, gives us reasons to fight. And we can do all of that and still sit back at the end of the day and just, be guys and gals that are having fun playing a game. It's not personal. It's just business. So I do miss that show, even though, it turned into a Laundries podcast. That was horrible. I couldn't take that. At that point, I just couldn't listen anymore. I'm sorry. But at least Mackenzie was, spinning some beats and having a good time doing things. So you want me to host Pack 24 mock podcast for you, Zoid? That'd be we should do that. Okay, so full disclosure. Go ahead.
Who remembers the old Genesis podcast?
I didn't even know that was a thing.
It wasn't really. It was videos. And he would just be salty as hell in like every single video.
So I used
that was
to
like
do.
when it first dropped, though.
Yeah, I used to do a podcast called Trekcast. Still a podcast is going. I just dropped out as one of the 3 hosts. I didn't have time to keep up with it with everything else. But I did that show for 4 years, and a lot of that time during this too. But I dropped out. But every once in a while, and it's all about Star Trek. So every once in a while, though, we would do an episode where it wasn't Trekcast, it was like Klingon Cast or something like that, and we'd come in and be yelling and have like loud music, guitar and everything ripping in the background, that kind of thing. And we'd do a whole podcast as if we were the Klingons, complaining about the Federation. So we should do that. I should do that. I should come on and just have a mock episode where I am executor of Pack 24 and just totally rip into silent. I think that would be hilarious. I don't know if I could do the voice, though. I'd have to come on like, hi, I'm Ozier, and I'm going to be the next executive of Burr, and we're going to hear and talk about pirate things, yar. Maybe that was too much. Sorry, I don't know. I don't know. I almost nailed his voice. I don't know. Come on now. You got to be, got to take some fun liberties here. All right, anyway, back to, Zoid is like, that was close. They aren't pirates. Yeah, I know they're not. I don't, I don't know. I love how we're getting Damon here with us, and he's literally smoking a joint live on air. I love it. It's great. It's amazing.
Well, I don't have any liquor tonight, so
I don't either. I'm just in a fucking hotel room. I got to walk down to the bar and get something here in a minute when this is done. So anyway, okay, let's get back on to what we were talking about. So we went through the fight of Bosy. We had a good time here. Talked a little bit about everything else. Let's talk about the AMAs because we talked about Titans a little bit. So that leads us into the AMA side of things. So the AMA thing was kind of sprung on me at the last minute that they were going to do it. And it's in the CC chat that you still don't have access to, Damon. RIP. Same thing with Rambo.
I still have not heard back from Kat.
I was going to ask you that, if you've heard back from her. I don't understand.
You know what? Here, I am going to do something. Like you can see it on my screen. Actually, I have to change this so you can see it on the screen. But I have sent a DM. Bring here it is. Okay, so I contacted JF, right? And JF put me in a conversation with Kat. And let's see, where is this goddamn thing? Give me a second here. I'm trying to figure.
Yeah, we didn't have an outline for today. We're gonna do a show. No sound effects either.
Background, none. Oh, it's on that different thing. Okay, fuck it. Never mind. Okay, so basically all I did was I messaged Kat and said, hey, I'd like to get back in the program. You may not know my content, blah, blah, blah. This was on the 3rd. And then I got silent, so I hit back on the 6th Still nothing. So I'm gonna ping Cat again and see if I
Yep.
get a response at all. But yeah, I have not heard back. I know Rambo is in the process of getting talks going for himself.
Yep. Yep. Rambo's not on the show tonight because I think at this point he's maybe driving home from work and hasn't gotten home yet. So, and he said I would have to do the show like 2 hours later than when we started. And I said, no, thank you. So I started without him. So, yeah, Rambo's actually still at work. Yeah. So, thank you for joining us, though, buddy. Miss you, man. We haven't done a show together and for
You want
weeks.
his
It just
background?
sucks. You changed your background? Yeah.
No, he said he wanted that background. I don't know which background he wanted.
Oh, I don't know. I would turn my camera on, but the camera sucks, and I'm just sitting in a dark hotel room, so who cares? No one wants to see me like that. So, Cracklin, with great reflexes comes great responsibility. Responsibility. That's great. I love it. We have a channel on our server just for his jokes. They're great. TBK says, thank you for joining Taylor Rick's podcast, Rambo.
Well, technically, I mean, you are an official CC.
Yep, I am. So that's pretty funny, actually, because Rambo right now isn't. Not on the server anyway. You guys still are, but not on the server. But we'll get you. Yeah, there's the background I always see you with is the news one. There you go. So yeah, AMA stuff. I asked multiple questions. Mario and Juby and the other person I forget who was there, Mura, who was the
Yep.
I guess is a mod I'd never seen before. Asked really dumb questions, but I felt like my two questions were good. I don't even remember what the hell I asked at this point. It's been that long ago.
You asked the important one is if you can break down implants like you can the nanos.
Oh, that's right. That's right. And the answer was yes, basically, and that they're going to do them this. And I even said, the way I worded that is I wanted to try to trap him into giving me the answer of how. Would it be like the way they're doing nanos? And he said yes. And he even gave out splits as he kept thinking about it. Now, keep in mind, Cloud does not get to make every decision about the game that he would like to make. He has to get those things approved, right? But at least we understand where the main developer's head is leaning towards. So implants being able to be repackaged and pull compilers out of them, even at a loss, a little less of a loss for some expense, is going to be huge.
There you go.
Oh, I've got that streaming or recording just like that. Oh, you brought up the thing. I can't see that though. I can't pull that up. You can read it if you want. Go ahead and read some of those.
Okay. Yeah, the first question was from Mario. He said, could you give us a sneak peek on the anniversary update? What upcoming feature are you most proud of? And they said that they are, whenever they say maybe, it's a definitely. New PVEs, new materials, and using those materials and ISK to upgrade ship defense. Now, I was curious with the ship defense if it's going to be a new system where you can directly upgrade your ship, kind of like a nano core, or if they're talking about new modules that you're going to be building. Like, so I'm not really sure what they mean by that.
Tough to say. Tough to say. I mean, they call torpedoes bombs. So I mean, that's hard to say.
Yeah. The next one was the Titans is a hot topic. Will they be released this year? And if so, when can we expect them? And they said it is to be determined. If it is released, the Fortizar and the Keepstar will definitely be released first. So we all know when they release new structures and everything else, that they do have to take at least about 3 months to make sure there's no bugs, no underlining effects.
Yeah.
So I'm probably saying if Titans do drop this year, it's probably being Q4 of this year, if not probably next year.
Yeah, and before that AMA, Cloud had told me after August, and now with this AMA, it sounds like maybe the fall, which frankly would work because if you for the anniversary, if you put Fortizars and Keepstars out there, and then you kind of let that go for, especially with the new Corp Tech, they just keep pushing that even farther, which obviously is going to go all the way out to level 10. Corp Tech is going to keep increasing until it goes to 10. I can just feel it now, for whatever that is. So yeah, I feel like August it will be Keepstars and Fortizars Fortizars are going to be interesting. I don't know what the hell they're going to do with those. If that's going to be the next fucking different type of citadel that only has one level that you have to anchor in a different spot inside of the drone lands, I mean, that's going to irritate the shit out of me. But yeah, the Keepstar though, level 5 citadel, that's a big one. You can't build Titans unless you build them inside of a Keepstar, or at least some sort of additional structure. So, and maybe even an add-on that has to go with it as well. So,
And then continuing with the Titans, he says, so Titans will not be released this year. We are about to, they say, we are about to release a comprehensive update of the underlying code of the APP, which will improve performance, but may also contain many bugs. Now, when they say it may contain, we know it's definitely going to contain them.
of course.
And if they're especially saying this, that means there's going to be a shit ton of bugs. Because usually they just don't say anything and you get bugs. But they say the planning of large-scale content is influenced by many factors, such as AOA. I couldn't help myself.
Yeah, no. And I think that's reasonable. I mean, honestly, the stuff that they've done, that's hilarious. Some of the stuff they've done this year, has been really, really good. And the tweaks they've made to the underlying code have been really, really good. And there have been lots of little funky bugs that have really screwed things up this year. Things like ANSI's not working, or then working and then not working, randomly turning off, acting like they don't have fuel, but they do. Local going completely away every once in a while this year, right? I mean, some of these bugs felt like old bugs, but you know what that's all about. That's about redoing the code to clean it up, which then that is going to allow either some new bugs or some bugs to come back in that you'd previously squashed because you just deleted that code that had that whole area of problem that you slimmed down, right? So it's a good thing. I will put up with bugs like this, knowing that they're working on the back end to try to streamline and optimize things, because it gives us what we got in Bosy, the ability to have a large fleet battle on a mobile fucking game without drops. That's amazing. Nobody else can do this. Nobody else has a game like this. There is no better game out there than this as an MMO on a mobile platform. Sorry, there's not. You can complain about it all you want, but there's nothing that even comes close. So
that concludes Mario's question. Then we move into Taylor's questions. And the first one is one we've been asking since the inception of the game, because it was on their roadmap since the beginning of the game. Are there plans for ammunition this year? And if so, are there true bombs included? And they did state that bomb launchers and bomb ammunitions might be released within the next 2 months, so maybe for the anniversary. And ammunition for other weapons is still in the dev plan, such as, ship naming and station containers.
yeah. I'm all for ammo. I'm definitely for bombs. But I'm all for ammo. I think that brings another level to the game. Again, more complexity is good. Things are very complex now compared to where they were in the beginning.
You could also have entities like in EVE Online pop up, like Bomber's Bar, which was people from all different sides. It was basically a not purple shoot it fleet, but just bombers.
Yeah, even if it's just bombers and it's nothing else, I'm fine with that too. Because bombers need to be bombers and not just only 3 high slot torpedo launchers. The nerf on that was a little irritating. But it is what it is.
We already talked about your other question, which was the repackaging.
Yeah.
And for those that one of the numbers, they said it's going to be free up to 70%, and then if you pay AUR, you can get 90% of your materials back. And they said that percentages still may change.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that. I wish it was ISK instead of R, but I mean, I'll take something over nothing. Because remember, guys, keep in mind when they say stuff like this and they put it out as R, what that means is we want to get paid for that, for implementing that new service for you. And after a while, when not enough people are doing it, because people won't after a while, Only true diehards with extra money to burn will do it at first, and then after a while, nobody will do it, or very few will, and then they'll open it up to be done other ways. Look at the way that skills have been released in Concord Store, and now they're not even in the Concord Store, but you can use Concord points for them in your skill tree when you go to buy them. Same thing with a whole bunch of other things where they've turned around and gone back to now it's ISK. It was Plex, or it was R, and now it's ISK. So it's like a slippery slope, only in reverse for us, where things at the very beginning are expensive and they're R-based and they're outrageous, but slowly over time, they kind of come down and get them back into the mainstream fold of the game. Look at special cruisers like Fiends. Those were almost unbuildable. Just get them from a box, bullshit stuff. Have to get them swiped to get them into the market. Then people can buy them. In order to get them. Now they're buildable. They've gone back and redone that even with the Navy issue ships, fleet issue ships, and the blops. The blops are now buildable. When they first came out, they were not. But now they are. They definitely are SRPable and buildable. So it opens up a whole new area of gameplay when you can get back to those levels of being able to SRP and build. So and those things have all come down. I wish carriers and dreads cost would come back down a little bit, but that's a market thing. I think the amount of materials needed to build a vac need to come down, especially that fucking Morphite. That's killer. Same thing with the Lucent Moon. That's a bit much. And that's a great ship, by the way. Overall, I think maybe over time, some of that stuff will come down a little bit if they don't see enough of it in the game or enough of its use in the game. That's why they keep buffing the vacs. They buff the shit out of the vacs. Oh, I know it was by design. They want to get a bunch of money up front, Tommy. I know, and that's fine. That's whatever. It's their company. They can do what they want, and we just have to suffer sometimes. But we still love it. I still play it. It's the greatest game ever. But
it's a tried and true method that all mobile games.
Yeah, and
they released a new feature. You paid for it. The whales paid for it. Once they ringed out basically every dollar they could, then they released it to the mass public for in-game currency. All right. Next, we have more. Asked 2 questions. The first question was, are there any plans to add on non-clone bound skill extractors and injectors to the game to help new players catch up with older players? Now, they did go on record way back when, in the first year, and I think even the second year, that they were never going to bring skill injectors into the game, that they felt that it was going to be an unfair advantage for some players. But currently, right now, they are staying true. They're saying, nope, there is no plan. New players can earn ISK at a slower rate, and the skill extractors and injectors are obviously not affordable for new players. We will change the rewards for encounters and novice tests to add more skill points and ships.
Okay.
How do you feel on that, Taylor?
I think that's okay. I still
feel they need to get rid of the whole tech tree,
well, remember back when they said that they couldn't get rid of the tech tree, when they flat out said they couldn't because that's just how the code was. And obviously with some of the optimizations they've made, they've gotten around that so that they can. And so I think they're testing the waters on it. I think the tech level is good. From a standpoint of it's slowing people's progression down in the beginning who don't know what they're doing. I think it's really dangerous to have somebody come into this game and 20 days in, they're flying a rattlesnake. Like, I think that's bad. We see those every once in a while, and I think that's bad because that's somebody who spent money, like a lot of money to get there that fast with enough skills and whatever else to do that. He didn't rat his way there. He didn't skill his way over time there. That's not possible. So he's spent money to wrap all that stuff up. And then only to find that, well, he needs to spend more money to ramp that stuff up and then more money to ramp that stuff up. Instead of learning how to play the game, he's playing the game of, well, if I just spend a bunch of money, I have a really cool ship and I can kill people with it. And that's not the case. You didn't learn how to PvP. Like, you can kill, to Vetamune's credit, he kills a lot of people with a stupid fucking stabber sniper, right? So, well, maybe he will learn Bradrick or he'll quit. That's the point about it that I think is dangerous. Is it's not that he's spending money and he's having fun and whatever else. It's that he's going to quit. He's going to get 30 days in and quit. and now you've lost a pilot.
And
Someone who could have enjoyed the
I
game
think
had their role been slowed a little bit, and they've been forced to learn some way, shape, or form, right? So
that's also the mentality of mobile players coming in. You know, a lot of players that come in, open up their wallets and say, well, I just want to get the max thing and I'll be able to win. Because you can do that in a lot of these games. You open up your wallet, you get the perks, you get the bigger, better things, and then you basically dominate. In this game, it is more skill versus, wallet. And that actually kind of leads us into the last question, Memora said that EE is getting costlier to play with each update, with steady rising barriers to entry for new players. What are the plans to attract new players and retain players who are on a smaller budget? And they say that the top two are Plex and Omega and battleship driving. We will gradually remove the tech level requirements for non-capital ships.
yeah, there you go.
So it will begin those new players into those bigger ships that much quicker.
Yeah, that's not bad, Rambo. No, Tommy says, Rick, I'm going to disagree here. I think we lose more players to people who cannot keep up with the bigger is better problem. And I'm going to hard disagree with you there. I also agree with you too, right? Two things at once. I can have two opinions at the same time. I disagree from the standpoint that bigger is better, right? Because scepters are still really good. Maybe not in a 1v1 situation for most ships, but scepters are really good. Asteros are really good. Those are not big ships. Asteros are great at killing bombers. You'd have a hell of a lot of fun doing that when people are trying to strip shit on pauses. Hell, a Magnate Covert Ops right now can sino in a Blops group. So small ships have a huge... Dictors are amazing. I mean, come on. These are all... and you don't have to have any fucking skills for that Dictor, by the way. You can have a cheap-ass, stupid Dictor that has 4 IP on it. You get enough in a week of Concord free IP to get 6 of them back. And have a ball in that thing. Bubbling people. And it's low tech level, no skills, right? So,
Especially when you bubble the gate when your fleet is approaching it.
right, exactly. Yeah, you troll your own people is great. So no, I don't think bigger is better, and I think there's ways that people can get into this game even early on as noobs, learning it with plenty of small ships to have lots of things to do. I would even argue that even a ship like a Mollusk, for crying out loud, which is a T4. With sensor damps on it. And if you give somebody, he gets a free implant, you carry him in a free implant in DR, and then you give him a decent sensor damp GU for that sucker, and you get a couple of noob guys like that, and you just made a small roam quite a bit more potent because they can't fucking lock you. I mean, sure, they're going to pop the mollusks, but they couldn't lock you for that extra 3 seconds, and that makes your group totally better. Like, there's an example for you. You got to be creative with these things. So bigger isn't better. Now, on the other side of that, well, I will agree with you when it comes to income and ratting. Exactly, Bradrick. There's the way you break that down. When it comes to ratting, bigger is better because the bigger the ships get, the more money you can make per 20-minute tick. And as someone who's got the crabber mentality, that is all you care about. You care about your DPS, but then you learn as you go on that it's not just about the massive DPS numbers, it's about your application of that DPS, and then you start to get creative with your fits on how do you apply for those specific ANOMs that you're hitting and changing those up. But it's still about the ticks. How fast can I clear things, and how big of a tick can I get inside of 20 minutes? That's where bigger gets to be better for a while because it gets up to battleships. But I know battleships that clear ANOMs, regular ANOMs, faster than carriers do. So it's not always a clear breakdown. And Succubus is now sucked, by the way, because of all the other shit. Like Tristan Navy issue and a Worm is better now with implants and everything else than a Succubus. The poor Succubus is just left to be super fucking fast and not tackleable. That's about it. So, anyway.
And since Taylor said the word of the day, implants, remember, if you do not have all your implants at level 45, as per Taylor, you are a scrub.
No, snowflake. The word I use is snowflake. So, anyway.
All right, now we move into Juby's questions, which are we going to have cross-platform play available on the PS4, PS5, Nintendo Switch, and PC? those types of devices, for example, at some point, I've heard it could be a fun if people can play with each other with any gaming platform. And obviously, there are no plans anytime soon. And I think I when I covered this, I even said that they could do the PC, right? They could just make their own PC client, which a lot of mobile games have. Netmarble, there's a few, Kablam, a few other games have actually put out their own PC client, or they could just license out to Steam because there's quite a few mobile games that you can play on your PC via Steam.
Yeah, I would love to see it on a Steam Deck. The little mobile Steam Deck thing. That'd be funny. But I don't know. I guess I understand where Juby's coming from. And maybe a Switch would be cool, but it's not a touchscreen. So or is a Switch a touchscreen? I don't think it is. Pretty sure a Switch
No.
is not a touchscreen. Yeah, yeah. Switch is a touchscreen? Oh, it is. Interesting.
It is?
Okay, it is.
Maybe I need to get a Switch.
Yeah. Well, see, that would be fun. That would be great to have it on a Switch then. That would be fun.
Because
I think it'd
put
be.
the Switch in the dock and play on your TV.
Yeah, yeah. I still have the touchscreen. Yeah, a Steam Deck. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's not as dumb as a question as I initially thought of. Now that I'm really sitting back and thinking about it, that was 3 a.m. in the fucking morning when I did that. When I did that
You were
recording.
probably hungover at the point too, right?
I did drink a little bit. Yeah, the night before, not a lot. I don't really drink a whole lot. I honestly don't. It's probably like maybe. I talk about it more than I actually do it. In all honesty, I really don't drink that much. And when I do, it's like a beer. There's times when the sales guys and all that, you're in the sales industry, you get together with people and you drink a little bit, but for the most part, I really don't drink that much. I probably drink more on this show live than anything else.
It's always fun.
Yeah, it is.
It's always fun to having a drinking episode.
Yeah.
But you have to have Rambo on to mispronounce things so you can do shots.
Yeah, exactly. So that was it for the AMA, right? Or was there one more?
No. There was one last question from Juby. I know I'm dragging this out.
No, you're fine. It's fine.
My last question was, I would love to have something similar to the EO advertisement videos. The scope, for example, that would showcase the new features and content, maybe with a cool trailer for every new update. We've been saying this for years, that EE has to advertise the game with accurate advertisements, not like the one for the implants, not like for the one with the, look, I'm mining in this ship. Oh, I mined enough. Now my ship morphed into another ship. That classic ad. But they turn around and says, this is handled by someone in another department. I'm not sure. Dev and publicity are two departments with different plans. So the right hand does not know what the left hand is doing.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And that concludes the AMA.
Yeah, definitely. About the one part of this, the whole thing with the devs and everything else that they do, and you can complain about the Lucid Moon all you want, but the art department, the graphics department, has always been spot on, and I like the Lucid Moon design. I really do. I think it's pretty cool. It's unique. Yeah, it's unique. Yeah, exactly. Lamoon.
We've had fun poking fun of that, though.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of ways to poke fun. It's a shovel. It's a plow, snow plow. It's a thing on a. It is fucking
The
massive.
first one was it was a Shaolin monastery minus the mountain.
Exactly.
That was
exactly, and it does look like that. If you go put it next to a mountain and Photoshop it, it looks like a freaking monastery on the side of a mountain. It's hilarious. No, it's a cool ship, and I'm fine with the diversity of it, the looks of different ships, and all that kind of stuff. I think that's great. Just add some flavor to the game. All right, what else were we going to talk about? I was getting some pings from a couple of people that I was reading there for a minute, so I got a little sidetracked. Kind of annoyed me a little bit. We had a couple of patch notes. We had a big patch note with the CorpTech update. I think everybody knows what that is by now, and really, unless you're the CEO or in leadership of your corp, you probably don't know and don't really care too much about the CorpTech, but it's a bigger ISK sync than what it was before. It's kind of a massive ISK sync at this point. They've added some new ships so you can get more points per week than what you could before. All right, but it's kind of a little bit meh. Not sure. The one thing they put in there though that everybody needs to be aware of is on this epic level. Um, if you unlock that and you skill into that, you can increase your Citadel's shields by 75%, your armor by 75%, your structure by like 50% or something like that. I don't know what the exact numbers are, but I know one of them is 75%. It's a massive increase to your defenses on your Citadels. It's kind of yes, yes. It's kind of a lot. It's a bit much, if you ask me. On all three, not just your shields, but your shields, your armor, and your structure, get a massive increase. And I don't recall there being anything there for the power grid on top of that, but there is already another level for power grid too. So, but yeah, new goals. Yeah, I mean that's for me. That's I want to get all those things leveled up. And I think they're making room for how they expanded that too for when it affects keep stars. There is actually already a Corp Tech in there for level 2 Citadels, which is a keep star. It's been in there for a while. Ever since T4s came out, you could see a Corporation Citadel 1 is a T4 in the game, and they say Corporation Citadel 2 in that code. So yeah, that has been there. What was this he just posted? Nope, that's something else. I don't know what they'll do with moon mining. I mean, obviously, every time they've introduced new ships, every time they have introduced new materials for those ships. So when the special cruisers came out, they took materials from Cobalt, new materials, the new PI from Cobalt. Those materials were already in game, as well as those gases before those dropped, but same thing. Same thing with the Navy issue battleships, the fleet issue battleships. The Lucent Moon, I don't recall if it takes gas, but it does take debris anyway that you get from Ethereum and Calvala. So that's new material in new areas. Obviously, the rest of the drone lands is going to open up at some point. I imagine the Spire will be next. So whenever they drop Lancers obviously take new materials too, and when they came out with a new integrated augmented fighters, those take materials that are also, the augmented especially actually, are the ones that are taking brand new materials that seem to only drop in Ethereum Reach. So, and those were new materials that they introduced with those new fighters at the same damn time, like dropped instantly same day on that patch. So to answer your question about moon mining, I believe moon mining will come into this game at some point. I don't really have any clear understanding of when or why, but I bet you it revolves around Titans and or something to do with Fortizar and Keepstar, new components that have to go into structures. The structures hasn't changed at all. Every structure takes the same structure parts to make since launch, and whenever they add new structures, they just put out more of those parts, right? Yeah, I believe that's probably true. I don't know how they'll play into that, but that's probably, I'd say that's a very good guess. Probably 90% accuracy on that if that comes true. That's a pretty good guess that they would put them in with Keepstars, Fortizars, and Titans. But who knows? We got Lancers out of the blue, right? From my photoshopping skills. And I'm sure whether Titans come out fourth quarter or not, or get pushed or whatever, at some point there's going to be different carriers. There's going to be some faction carriers. There's going to be some different faction dreads. There's going to be faction super carriers. And then, of course, there'll be Titans. No, I don't think anybody's ever asked them about player-owned run markets. But I know we've asked them multiple times in the past. I'm sure Damon remembers this too. There's really there's one change they could make to the market. Maybe Damon knows this. Let's just quiz Damon here for a moment. Yeah, exactly. There's one thing they could do to the market to make it better overnight, and they could do it on one simple patch and have it rolled out by next Wednesday, and it would make the market 10 times better. What is it, Damon?
It could be one of two things. It could be one, don't let you buy things throughout. So everyone basically just uses Jita. Basically make it so that you can only buy from that region, i.e., the other trade hubs, or it could be the fact that with such as insurance, don't instantly replace things, actually buy it off the market. Have the system purchase those ships or put buy orders on the market for ships for industrialists to actually build and put on the market.
Yeah, they claim that that second thing happens, but it really doesn't. We all know that. Or it happens 1/6 of the time, or whatever. Yada yada yada. It doesn't. It doesn't happen that way. I think if it happened every single time, that might be flooding the market and deflating things too much. So I'm kind of on the fence about that one. But your first one is absolutely correct. That is the number one thing they need to do to shake up the markets and really make a more dynamic economy. Obviously, I want everything to get unclone bound, and I want everything to be sellable and everything to be tradable. Nanocores, the whole 9 yards. No more clone bound shit. Everything sellable, everything tradable. But even without that, because I don't think they'll ever go there, the one thing they will do, I think that they will get to at some point, is to block off things by region. So you can buy things from JITA if you want, but to see things on the JITA market and buy things on the JITA market, you have to be in that region. And once you've done that, now all the delivery systems that they have in place from ITC to ITC now become a real thing. Deliveries from one ITC to the other become a real job and become a thing that you can
And
do.
since you have the four major trade hubs, right? It was Jita, Amar. Come on, brain work. The one in Galante space. I can't remember the name of.
Tash
No, Dixie.
Tash Merkin maybe, or I don't know.
I
Those are
think it's
kind
No
of close,
Dixie.
but yeah, maybe.
And then the
Doe
one,
Dixie,
yeah, the
yeah,
one that,
yeah,
yeah, and the one that no one ever goes to because it's held together by duct tape and a dream. Um, but this would also work if you did it by region. And since they, unlike EO, they are keeping the NPC stations out in null, you can then turn those into truly player driven markets
yep,
because now that market for that region, say like Declan or something like that, right?
right.
Or
Is the one in Venal,
Esoteria. Well,
H type
now,
P.
right, right. Now you'll have to go to that ITC.
Yep. That'd be great. I think that'd be fantastic. That's one little easy change that I think everybody in this game would love. Yep, I think everybody would love that. So,
And
yeah,
that would actually open up the market for true traders.
yeah, traders and
Because I
delivery
remember
guys.
when I played EO, I had a trader account, which all I did was I think we called it the Silk Road, where you would take things from Jita, you check the prices in Dodixie, Jita, Amar, and you would just buy things from one ITC, bring it over to the other ITC, and make like 5% profit on it.
Yep,
Now you'd be able to do that the same thing. Now out with no, buy it from Jita, bring it out to you transport it out to no because there's an obviously market for it, and mark it up 10, 15, 20%.
yep.
Yeah, price history would be a beautiful thing.
Well, I could go on and on and on about things in the markets, like ability to dump an actual API from the market and see that kind of stuff. That'd be great. But yeah, it's not going to happen. Um, we go on and on about that, but Bradrick. Is there anything else major in the patches that I'm forgetting about? Maybe that we need to address or discuss. I mean, there was the Corp Tech stuff. What else was there? See, I think I've got a bookmark for the patch notes I can pull up real quick and see. I want to say that there wasn't really any. Oh, for crying out loud! Anything else that was super crazy?
Let's see here.
Now my stuff is
Bring it up.
acting up and I can't see my bookmarks. Oh, there we are. Bookmarks bar, this stuff.
Corporation Tech Tree. We
Not
talked
there.
about that. Construction balance updates to the cosmic anomalies. They enhanced the mothership command module. Fuel consumption is reduced from 12,000 to 4,000, which is huge when activated. Mothership shield resistance. Let's see here. And fighter damage bonus increased from 10 to 15% for that module.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, this one. Oh, I mean, how could we forget this one? Valuation is updated based on the market transaction record.
Right, exactly. Exactly. Okay, yeah, the tactical defense implant's now buildable. If you can get one of those cores to drop for you in Ethereum Reach or Kelvala, that's where they drop. There's those cores drop there to make a tactical defense implant. So that implant is fucking overpowered for super pilots, I believe. It really is. It adds millions of hit points to your ship, and it can be used at the same time as another implant. So it's kind of it's a little bit overpowered. But it's a defensive. It's the first true defensive implant. Can't use GUs. It will at some point, and my thinking on that is it'll probably be different types of GUs. They'll have a whole new class of GUs that'll probably have to come out in some sort of R swipe option box thing. But eventually you'll have to build them the same way you do with those advanced GUs that you do for each one of the regular implants. That's kind of my feeling of what they'll do. Something more along those lines. But I think it's great. At least it's manufacturable now. 2 weeks after release of the initial implant, now you can make it. They released that heavy siege mode thing too for the rigs, but that's only on super carriers. And that also adds huge defensive abilities to it. It's huge defensive abilities. Very hard to bump one now. So, whereas they could be bumped a lot more before.
They also brought down the tax rate for Plex sales currently from a 12% to a 2%.
Yeah, even market taxes changed. That was another big thing too, and I almost forgot about that. Someone has a Nix up on the market right now for 1.27 trillion. They actually listed it because I think it's capped at $1 billion or 1.2 billion or something like that for listing something that's not that expensive. So it's actually not out of the realm to have capitals on the market now, like big time, and even a super, which is ridiculous to have a Nix for 1.27 trillion up there. But whatever. Hey, float your boat. It won't sell in the 3 weeks that it's up there, so whatever.
New focused needle jacks where you can specify which region you want to go to, such as Declan.
Nice. Bring it.
I couldn't help.
Yeah.
I know. I remember reading a bunch of Reddit replies that people were complaining that their needle jack was not taking them to Declan. So I had to throw that in there.
Oh my God, Bradrick. Bradrick asks two questions, or asks a question. What's the counter to supers? I mean, besides us YOLOing at it for an hour. Bradrick, where the fuck have you been? This is a name and shame of somebody who's in bot 5. Where the fuck have you been? DM me. Just DM me. Holy shit. Yeah, you're right. No trouble. That implant's incredible on Dami. Yeah. The answer is bombs. That's right, Muffin. That's why we need them.
Find out.
Muffin wants bombs so bad. When they come out, he's going to have a hard on. The man's going to have a stiffy.
Let's go ISK. I'm looking at kills right now. Pulling up. He says super drop to Navy issues. I'm looking for that super kill.
There's plenty of super kills up on Moby bot, on Mario's bot. Yeah, exactly, Muffin. Right Little man with a heart on. That's great. There's plenty of super kills up there, and they're dropping to battleships. So, yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing. I think those market changes were good. I don't know if anything else really needs to be said about that. Yeah, that new disruptive lance when it came out was hilarious because the damn thing could like machine gun fire. It could just go and go and go. There was no delay between shots. And so for about maybe 4 hours that morning, people were having a lot of fun with it. But now it's back to the normal cooldown. So. That's all I got for going over stuff today and just catching up with people. catching up on things. What do you got? You got anything else, Damon?
Not really. That was basically all I was going to cover in this last week's video too. But like I said, I just didn't have time to make it this week.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
we'll see what happens this week. Obviously, we had one huge fight, the Bosy. So maybe there will be something else on the horizon this week, fight-wise.
Maybe. I mean, yesterday we had big form up on both sides down there around E-Dog and Bosy again, and no fight happened. So that was a disappointment. But yeah.
Ball fights. Those are the ones that I hate. When you sit there, you get ready for everything, and you've wasted like 3 hours, and nothing comes of it.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, but that's the way it goes. It's the way it goes. It's just part of the game. It's part of the strategy. Yeah, we knew where they were. They knew where we were. Yep.
That could be a picture of Benzie up there.
I don't think I've ever seen that one before. That's freaking horrible. So that's correct, Cracklin. Diplomacy is the art of letting someone else get your way. All right, well, I guess that's it. That wraps up the show. That was a good hour and a half long conversation. That was wonderful. We had at one point, I think, 30, 31 in the audience. We got 25 right now. That's pretty good for a Monday night, U.S. time zone anyway.
And obviously, we've also we beat Rambo. Obviously, he did not get home in time.
Yeah, we got done before he got time. I can just see him right now. He's like, shit, I'm 10 minutes from the house, guys. That's we hang up. Click. We're done. Yes, Damon, you carried the show. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
No problem. Like I said, tonight was easier for me to get on than Sundays because, I don't want to risk the wrath of my wife.
Yeah, I mean, that's my regularly scheduled time, so yeah.
She's the Titan. I do not want to get focus fired.
That area of effect is bad, right?
Yes. And last thing, it'll like knock you out of the game for like a couple days.
Yeah.
And your folk have to respawn on said couch.
Yeah.
But the nice thing is my schedule has actually changed. It's starting this week. I'm actually off of weekends finally, and I'm now working Monday through Friday. So that will free up more time because the reason my wife kept getting pissed is because the only day off I had for the last year was Sundays. So we had to fix, she works during the day, I work at night. So we don't really see each other, except for a few hours at night and like all day Sunday. So now that we have the weekends together, I'm sure she'll be getting sick of me and saying, just go do your podcast. Go do the podcast. Get on my hair for like an hour or 2 hours.
Awesome. Yep, that's it, guys. Thanks for coming. I don't have any outro music because I don't have that set up. I didn't even think about that when doing this. I was just like, I can have my mic and my headphones. Easy enough. But I didn't even think about all the other shit that goes into it. So I'll just edit it and post, and that'll be my night. Yeah, I'm not going to sing us out. Yeah, dick in a box. It's a vac in a box. We were supposed to do the overlay of that. I just couldn't bring myself to doing it. Yeah, no. I made a video, but we're not going to do any singing of that song. So yeah, so
wait. Maybe I can hook this up here.
Yeah, there you go. Happy Pride Month, Skinny. That's a vac in the box. That was the video I made. So yeah, thanks for coming, guys. Good show, all fun. We'll catch you next time. Probably Sunday. We'll have 2 shows in the same week. This Sunday, Echoes of New Eden will be back live again. Hopefully Rambo will be around. Maybe Damon will be able to join us. Maybe not. After what he just said, probably not. Probably best if you don't. We'll get Juby on. We'll do another midday afternoon show or something like that. Actually, yeah, I did write that on my calendar, so we are doing that. I'll be around. Good EU time zone. And after that, 07, everybody. Take care.